G'day world, Chris Hogan coming to you from the Burleigh Head studio here at Me Media for episode 112 of Get Fact Up. And my guest today is Dr. Tanya Unni, who is the director of Amtan Medical and Australian Skin Labs. Welcome, Tanya. How are you?
Thank you very much. It's really wonderful to be here. I'm very excited to talk to you. Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I reached out to you was because you won your category for the Gold Coast Young Entrepreneur Awards here, held here on the Gold Coast, about a month ago?
Correct, a month ago.
Yeah. And in 2 days, you are a finalist for the National Awards, I understand.
That's right, yeah.
So what was the category that you won here on the Gold Coast?
Health and fitness.
Fantastic. And why did you win that? What was the product or service that you offered that got you that award?
That's a good question. Probably the judges should be answering why they picked me over the others. But I believe it's because of, I believe basically because we've been in the Gold Coast for 9 years, coming from England. And in a matter of 9 years, we have put in our effort to actually grow from having single-handed one medical center within first 3 months of arriving here to actually grow to 8 medical centers. And then last year, having launched the Skin Lab and Beauty, which is a cosmetic clinic chain, and also skincare line, skin products and hair devices. So maybe it could be because of that. And one of the product, the device that was launched to television, that was last year or year and a bit. It's an innovator. It's a patented technology which probably would have been a bit interesting. And we've just launched another one, which is a massage brush with the serums that goes, hair serum that goes through the brush and things like that. Yeah.
Very nice. So your skincare product, how long through your business journey did that come into play? Was that just recent or?
Look, I'm sure if you talk to any of the manufacturers or the scientists, they'll tell you it takes a little while from the concept of, let's actually combine this and this together and see what happens. And, from that just raw idea to actually formulating something and then testing, you have to check if it's free from bacteria, stability testing, this and that. I won't get into details, going through the whole research and development process. It takes a little while. So the whole journey started about 4.5, 5 years ago, at least, starting the formulations and thinking about how we could actually best incorporate the natural remedies that we know and is safe, and also the modern technology, with the scientific backing. So it was the idea of combining these two that actually led into bringing my own skincare line.
Fantastic. So first of all, let's go back a couple of steps. So you came to Australia 9 years ago, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And you just decided to open a medical center? Is that?
Not at all. It wasn't in the plan. Probably you could say that we've been in business by accident. So accidental business people, because my background had always been like my family were either into art, but the father's side's art and culture and media and stuff, or my mother's side is mainly professionals and doctors and stuff like that. So business was never a thing, really. My husband had a good background in business. So anyway, migrating from England to Australia, we were in a medical center, and honestly, I was so uncomfortable. And
so you didn't start the medical center. You just started working in one.
We both came into a medical center and started our first job there.
Mm-hmm.
I was really uncomfortable. I was kind of traumatized, and I just couldn't work in that environment. It was very uncomfortable for me. So
what part about that was uncomfortable?
I don't know. It was nothing what I expected. It was very.
Did you
different.
feel trapped or?
I don't know what I felt, and I don't want to badmouth anyone.
No, I understood.
Yeah, but it was it was definitely nothing what I'd expected. Things were promised wasn't actually there, and I left our stable life. My husband and I, we had, you know, beautiful neighborhood, lovely, cute little house in England, well established. Like in the terms of did our exams and I cleared all that, and I was getting into like my dance. I love dancing, so I've had, you know, restarting all that passion and all that. So I left everything to come to Gold Coast, and the first job was, I was thinking I left all of that, come to a new place. We had no one here. We had no idea where things are, who to talk to. Absolutely nothing.
We just had a little technical glitch there. The audio actually stopped working. So, Tanya, you were talking about you were looking at a lease sign and you rang the number and you were going to look at leasing a shop just for what?
Yeah, that was a medical center place, and it had a lease sign. So we were curious, so gave that number a call, and that a man answered, said, "Oh, we'll see you 10 o'clock on Monday morning." So yeah, we rocked up, and after having a little chat, he said, "You both look like trustworthy people. I'll let you start work here, but I need $10,000 and 400 for my chair." So 10,400 to buy my medical center. We both were like, we didn't know what to say. We were like quite shocked, and we grabbed it definitely. So so I said yes, I'll take it on and I'll be the doctor here, because I just wanted to get out of that place and I wanted to do things the way I want. So yeah, within 3 months of arriving to Australia, owned the first medical center, not knowing a thing, not knowing about the legal system, tax, nothing, and never ever run a business before. So here I am, single-handed doctor, having to look after everything with just a receptionist. So it started like that. It was quite fun. Yeah.
So you're a qualified general practitioner, is
yes,
that?
Yes.
And so starting up a medical center is one thing, and on your own.
Yeah.
And your husband, he's the business mind, or is he also?
No, he's a GP as well.
GP as well?
Yes, he's a GP as well. So he continued with his medical center. So yeah, I went it out because I thought, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I have to move.
Sure.
So that pushed me to take on challenges, take on roles and positions that I've never been used to before. I'd never knew how to even run anything.
So what did the first day feel like, or first week, when you sat down in your chair and?
Did you know what? It really helped because I was 9 years younger at that time. Probably young and stupid.
Well,
it was.
Yeah.
What, Tony? You were
No, you still look young, so.
Not at all. So, and we didn't have kids at the time as well. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose. And, when I went to medical school, it was all about, I'm going to be a good doctor, service the community, make the right diagnosis and, help people. And that was it. That wasn't anything beyond that, business, entrepreneurial, nothing at all. Nothing, I have no stories like that to share. I was a dancer. I loved dancing. That was my passion, and that's it. But here I am, the first week, and most of my clients were actually well-known people and people from, who have done really well. That's probably would have triggered something in me, because I really enjoyed. Initially, I was quite nervous because I'm Indian origin, and I'm a female, so I didn't know quite how Australians would take me. And I was in England, so I trained in England. So a bit mixed background. So I was quite curious to find how they would accept me, because being a doctor, when a person comes, they have to have the trust in the doctor. When I give them a prescription, they need to trust me to take a tablet and put in their mouth. You know what I mean? So that's pretty serious. So I didn't know how they would take it, but I was quite lucky. I was able to communicate, and I knew that I need to be real me, and I just kept it as real as possible, which is I don't know any other way. So I was able to communicate, and yeah, I learned a lot from my clients, my patients from Main Beach. It was really exciting. So I was quite curious to know about how they started and what sparked, how the spark came, and how they made what they made, and their passion, their ideas. So I think those sort of stuff would have influenced um, a bit in me, and so without even knowing, like involuntarily would have actually set something in. So then one thing led to another. So within another few months, started with the next medical center, and the next, and then it went on.
Few months.
Yeah.
You didn't wait long. So the pain wasn't big enough in the first one. You had to go and source some more pain.
No,
Or the joy was so great that you went, I can't limit this to just one. Surely, how many have you got?
8.
Surely, like 8 is 8 times is more fun, right?
It's to be quite honest, the idea was to actually create a kind of environment, a place that people will go to. A person, when they go to a medical center, they don't go there to have fun. They go there when they are sick.
Oh, I know that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
Yeah. So we wanted to create a place, an environment where people will feel calm and relaxed and welcome. And they should feel approached. They can approach the receptionist for another appointment, or they shouldn't hesitate to ask the nurse for a question that they may not want to ask anybody else. So we wanted to create that kind of culture, that kind of environment for our patients and our community. So we quickly identified the northern suburbs. There were a little bit of maybe less service than less fortunate in terms of the number of services than the southern side of Gold Coast. So that's why we focused, although I started off in Main Beach, but most of our ventures projects have been in northern side. So
still all sort of Gold Coast Shire?
yes,
Yeah.
within the from Omo to we have in fact one in Reedy Creek. So that was the whole idea, and it really worked. So when people walk into our center, we want them to feel, we still have people asking, is it private? What do I pay? And we're like, no, it's bulk billing. They were like, really? This is bulk billing? So we wanted to create that. It is not about taking money, it's also about giving and then taking care of the community as a whole. Because and that's been always our mission, and to respect, to care, to give back to community. And that's the kind of work culture that we have managed to create. So whoever we have on board, they also share the common values. But if they don't, they wouldn't fit in.
Yeah, we'll come back to values
Yeah.
in just a minute. I've got so many questions.
That's okay.
So, generally speaking, I've discovered that GPs don't do any further education after their degree. Where have you sat on that? I mean, surely you would have to do some education around, being a director and actually owning businesses. But what about the medical side of things?
Oh gosh, I think these days, as general, you cannot not do your continuous education. It's mandatory. I don't know about years ago, but I can only speak what's happening right now. So there are points and there's constant validation and things like that, which is great, because then you are actually not forced in a bad way, but you need to get on top of the latest.
So that's I guess
General.
you're getting points for being a GP. But what about educating yourself on other stuff?
Other stuff, yeah.
So one of my challenges is that I'm very focused on nutrition, but when
Yeah.
I go and see a GP, they generally know
They
very
don't-
little about nutrition.
Yeah. Okay, so that depends on the doctor's interest as well.
Of course.
I love everything about skin. So that's my passion. So,
Okay, so great.
yeah. So I wanted to know more about it. And then I realized in Australia, there we do come across a lot of skin cancers and stuff. So I wanted to do a little bit more about that. So I did my training in dermatology and skin cancer medicine and things like that. So that was the part that I chose because
That
of
was
my
your passion.
interest. Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
Great.
So my husband chose diabetes and chronic disease because that's what he loves to do. So that's what he did. So it depends on each GP what their areas of interest, but they don't have to have that. They can just still be a generalist and be a jack of all trade.
Yeah. Professional of none.
Oh well, they don't have to be. That's but Australian general practice is pretty good, I have to admit.
Sorry, I'm taking a stab at GPs
That's
and I've got a
okay.
GP sitting across from me. I appreciate that being a jack of all trades does mean that you generally aren't, excited about all parts of everything you do, and that there's something specific that normally excites you more than the others. And I'm glad that you've identified that your passion was skin. So that's great. You went and did further education. So you're a qualified dermatologist as well. Is that
Yes, skin specialist GP.
fantastic? And so that inspired the creation of the skincare products,
I
or no?
Yeah, in a way, but it wasn't because I did the dermatology training that I created it. It's probably maybe it was two different things because because I was into movies and stuff as a child growing up.
And where was this?
That's in India.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in India. So as a child artist and won awards and stuff like that as a child's movie artist. So I was always in the media and I've been surrounded by, good looking people, quite luckily. And I've been, being as a curious child, I always watched what they did and how they looked after themselves, how they maintained their skin and stuff like that. So I was quite those things used to excite me, and that grew in me even becoming a doctor. That was always in you, obviously. And so that's and
I always
then we
thought
had
Indian people had naturally beautiful skin. They
Yeah,
didn't,
but you
didn't have to
always
do
need-
anything.
Oh no, you have if you have a nice car, won't you not take it to the garage
Of
and
course,
get
of
a
course,
service? And it's the
Okay.
same thing, yeah.
Good one.
You still need to look after it,
Sure.
no matter how good genes you may have or not.
Sure.
So one of the older boy, my son, had eczema and stuff. It was very difficult, to control it. So it started looking into different things and looking at natural remedies because I didn't want to use too much of steroid, as I was looking more into preventive options. So that took me back into my Kerala and my Indian heritage, where we had a lot of Ayurvedic influence, because that's where it all originated. So started off with the coconut and coconut oil, and we made, my mother actually made coconut oil at home from, coconut milk and stuff. So it was and it started working. And then that was kind of maybe the turning point, kept, that curiosity and oh, actually, yeah, I'm a doctor and, but the stuff works. So that was when it all started. So then I was more interested in, let's actually try this, and start talking to my husband, bounced out ideas. And one thing led to another thing. And then simultaneously, I was doing my dermatology anyway. So, yeah, so I don't know, is it chicken or egg?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, coconuts.
Yep.
Oh, I love them to bits
I know.
too. I think they're fantastic. Have their inherent, I guess, challenges as well. You can't. Some people I've met have applied coconut oil and gone out into the blazing hot Australian sun and thinking that it's going to protect them.
It'd be tandoori chicken by the end.
And you know what? I actually did it.
Never.
I did it. I took somebody's word
Oh
and I went,
my
let me try this on. It was the worst burn I've ever felt in my life. So made those
With a
mistakes.
nice tan.
No, not nice at all. So followed someone blindly, and I think that was probably the biggest mistake that I've ever made around skincare. But recently, I've discovered some amazing things about skincare as well, and natural skincare and grapeseed oil extract, natural SPF of 38.
I know there are some amazing things like broccoli and things like that. There, it's I don't even know where to begin. There are a lot of stuff in nature that itself will protect you, but the area like the anti-aging sort of stuff, you need a little bit of combination between the
Yes.
natural and the active evidence-proved medicine as well, like the active ingredients. So, and where do you get the balance right? How do you not do too much chemicals, don't not use too much chemicals, but still get the effect? So that's because when women and men, when they turn the skin ages, then there's a limit to what natural remedies can do, because then you're actually treating the real problems. That is, you're going against time. Yeah, you're trying to reverse whatever has happened, the fine lines and wrinkles and the blemishes and
the sun damage.
sun damage and all of that. So that's when it's a combination is more exciting because it does work, but then not knowing what's the right amount and what's the right proportion, right safe proportion. That will that is where I'm trying to focus.
So when you're making a decision on what to put into skincare, is it all science based, or is it a little bit of anecdotal stuff as well?
It's it depends on what problem we are trying to address. If it's a younger person and you want to actually maintain healthy, glowing skin, natural, perfect. We are not correcting the aging issues. We are not correcting too much of sun damage, provided they wear sunscreen. So those sort of stuff. But when you're looking someone at 60-year-old or much older, or 50 or even 40s, then you're looking at anti-aging. So I don't believe in giving false hope and false taking them down the false track, saying that this is all natural and it'll work. And I would be like, it could work, but actually we combine this active ingredient, it'll work better. And that is a reality. So that's when I think there's still room for the combination. That is where it gets really important, when you combine the time-tested natural ingredient with the evidence-based safe active ingredients. I'm not saying they're chemicals, and not all chemicals are bad. So it's combining the safe two options together, and then you get the outcome.
Fantastic.
And that's what Ayurvedam is a science. It's science of life. It's science of science that uses the traditional knowledge. It's a way of living. So when I looked at it, and then when I could combine that knowledge to what we already know, that's the about the evidence-based medicine, I think that is the marriage that I think will bring out more outcomes, productive outcomes.
Great. So how far into a skincare line now? How many products do you have?
Okay, for our main platform has been till recently Television Shopping Network, and over there we have mainly two devices now, so skincare device and hair device, and complementing that is the oil, skin oil, and the cream, and the hair serum. So all the cream and serums are natural based, and the technology is what the modern medicine. Okay, so that's how we've combined. So apart from that, we have got a new line that will be launched very soon. I'm hoping that will be launched by the end of before the end of the year. So that'll be exciting. So I'll let you know.
Cool. So, Television Shopping Network,
Yep.
is that where you launched the products?
I
or-
did, yeah.
Right.
Launched it through television.
And your decision to do that was because other channels were too slow, too hard, or you
Look-
sort of saw something in that channel? What was the decision to do that?
Because it's actually quite. I don't have an answer to say because, like how I've got into the first medical center not knowing anything. Perhaps mine has my journey and with my husband has always been like it's more by accident, you know.
Fantastic.
So.
Wow.
So it wasn't like
That's an element of luck too, right?
yeah, you could say so. So it
Mm.
wasn't like, oh, okay, we'll look at all the channels, channel 10, this, we'll pick. It wasn't like that. It was a great opportunity to meet someone, to work with that person, to get into the television shopping
Excellent.
network. So one thing led to another. So then started. They invited us for a presentation, so I did my pitch and then did a screening test, and then they said, yeah, you're great on TV. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then when I started, we go through a quality assessment process, and then that's it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm excited. Yeah, so I think
It sounds like a fantastic story.
Does
it really does. It really does. I mean,
I thought it was a bit boring because there was nothing there was no.
Well, let's spice it up a little bit because one of the things you said earlier was that you were doubtful whether or not doing this medical center was a good idea, and one of the things you said because you were a female. That should be a non-issue.
Yeah.
That really should. I grew up. I'm the only boy amongst two other sisters. So I had 3 kids, and I have 3 girls. And someone I was just talking to this week, actually said, I don't want to put my face on my website because then people will see that I'm a young girl, and they may judge the company, their capability, and me because of that. And I was like, that's really sad. That's really shit. Like it is that anybody has to feel like that. So was it a non-issue, and has there been any challenges around being female in business?
Absolutely. So even my first medical center, I've had people, I could hear from the reception what they talked to the lady there. So who's this doctor? Oh, female. What does she look like? So my receptionist aunt, she looks like a female to me. And I was like, good answer. I'm like, what is the origin? Where did she graduate? So it just, do you know what I'm saying? And even recently, when we started one of the newest medical centers, the questions were like, does the doctor speak English? Where are they from? What do they look like? What color? So it's still there because it's not the vast majority of people, but there are. Maybe because we are in Gold Coast, we do get a lot of.
It's not very multicultural here. Like, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Like, even the school I went to was just up the highway a little bit. There was maybe a handful of Asians, a handful of some, Islanders, and that was it. Like, to be perfectly honest, it was all white people.
Yeah, which is okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but I grew up in a lack of diversity, with regards to race, and it was co-ed, so at least it was equal opportunity. I felt,
Yeah.
And I from a guy's point of view, that I guess I've never been challenged by this. I find it really difficult to understand how you could be challenged by your gender.
Numerous times.
Yeah.
Numerous times. Even being a GP, the lack of trust, and they'll walk in the door, they'll be like, oh, have you just passed out of medical school? Or...
you look young, right?
I mean, yeah, take it as a compliment, of course. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm 65, but thank you very much. But you know what I mean.
Yes.
Or they would be like, where did you graduate? Or they would actually do a little bit of a interview session with me and I know they're testing. But now I've I realize that, so I'm okay with that. I'm like, okay, that's
So is that okay? Would you say that that is the full extent of the adversity that you've experienced in business? Is that the only thing that has really
no. This is
upset your business journey, or
not
have there
at
been
all.
like
It doesn't.
bigger other challenges? that
No,
you've
this
had to
hasn't
face?
actually upset my business challenge. I guess this is, and because we are in a tourist location, Gold Coast is very touristy. So these people may not have been from Gold Coast in the first place. They may be like visitors from.
don't
I
defend
don't
the
know.
locals.
No, but I
they
really,
can
I
be
don't know. It
racist.
could
They
be.
can be absolutely be racist.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. They are. But I haven't had. I mean, apart from these few comments, if I would have seen thousands and thousands of people
Yeah.
during 9 years, as you can imagine, it isn't the majority. It's like the tiny. But you do remember those tiny, don't you?
Yes.
When you have been judged because you're a female, because you're younger than.
Age, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I don't have an Australian accent, so obviously it's quite obvious that I'm not from Australia. So that would be one of the challenges. But the other things that we have faced is that, so when I go and interview someone for something, like whether it's a doctor or whether for anything, leasing a site, they there will be a little bit of pause, and they will want to know more about how and do you own it, or is it your parents, or those sort of questions. You can tell that they want to ask, and sometimes they would actually.
Yeah.
Ask
That's
us.
just a natural curiosity.
Yeah,
right?
it's a curiosity, but I won't.
I think that's a credit to you, right? Because if you're young, and obviously there is this adversity that or divide in gender equality that exists. So if you're succeeding and you're female and you're young, and that's surprising to some people, then it's natural for them to ask questions, right?
Yes,
and it's really great that you're able to answer them positively.
Yeah.
And say, hey, you know what? Yeah, challenged, but it's a non-issue, because look at for want of a better term, look at me now. Look at the success that I've had because of basically, I guess, brushing that stuff off, and it's water off a duck's back for argument's sake.
Totally. That's how I take everything, whether it's positive or negative. The journey has always been interesting, and it's never been easy, because we don't have business background. So, and we don't have godfathers either. We haven't got families over here that we can actually go and run and ask, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think it's the right decision? Are we doing too much? So we don't have that kind of, so it's just whatever that we think is right. We follow our gut instinct and just do it. And then if we have problems, we just cope with it and quietly just suffer it, but move on. So weekends and all that stuff is like non-existent. What is weekend? And people, oh, you must relax. And what is relaxation? I just don't know anymore, because you're constantly trying to work for something.
And
your
so,
mind
how old are
is
your children?
7 and 3.
And how are they sort of adapting to this? Are you a 7-day worker, or are you actually having weekends? How are they adapting to this lifestyle?
It's very, it's interesting. I think kids are amazing. Kids they grow around you, they adapt. They have got amazing sense of, they sense things. They know the parents are working hard. So when we go to work, so if my husband and I are both working by default on a weekend or something, or we're working or meeting someone, we take them along with us. So they know that we are working, so they're happy, they understand. Or if we have to leave them with a nanny for a few hours, go off for a meeting and then come back, they adapt really well. And that's really, I'm not sure whether I should be surprised. or maybe because that's what they've seen. They've seen us working hard.
Did you have a similar experience growing up?
My mother was always a housewife, so my concept wasn't like this at all. But I couldn't do anything else but be a doctor, so I had no option B. So although I was into movies and dance, I did not have an option B. So I only knew that I want to be a doctor because I've seen my grandfather and all that being a doctor and how service oriented he was, and that was really um, that was it. I knew that was what I wanted to do. So in a way, I knew that a doctor's life is not going to be easy. Like even just being a doctor itself is busy enough, but I didn't know that I would be doing all of the other things. So yeah, so it was it's what the life that we are leading now as a family is probably a bit different to what I had thought and expected. We keep planning, oh, maybe next year we'll slow down, but life, it's I think you'll be comfortable for a little while, and then you disrupt it, and then you take on new challenge, and then work towards achieving the target or goal of that particular project. And then when it gets too comfortable, you disrupt it again. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm sure there'll be other people also in the same shoes. But now I'm getting more excitement over the skincare line because a percentage of the profit goes to charity, and I'm involved in a lot of projects to giving back to the community and services, and women empowerment through education is the biggest thing that I want to give back. So yeah, I love doing all that. So as a family, and I've got 2 boys, so you've got 3 girls, I've got 2 boys. So I'm trying, it's an attempt to actually educate them because they are our future. If we raise them properly, and if we give them the right message, I think I think then you have done the right thing as a parent. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get them involved in whatever I'm doing, and they understand. Yeah, which they already. Because they come to work with us, they know that mommy and daddy looks after sick people. But there was an interesting question my older boy asked, a 7-year-old. So he asked me, so we kind of talk about good things and bad things and good behavior, bad behavior. So he asked me, what if a bad person comes, like a robber or someone who's stolen things or killed another person, would you still treat him? So then I said, yes, I have to, because I'm a doctor. I have to do that. But why? That person is a bad person. Why do you have to look after a bad person? So,
And what's your answer?
Yeah, well, I said I'm a doctor first. So as a doctor, my primary duty is actually to take care of the person. Whether they are good or bad comes second. So if someone is sick, you look after the person first. And then the rest is for the police and for them to deal with.
Yeah.
But that is not me as a... But I was thinking, actually, we constantly tell them good and bad, good and bad. So that's what their minds, it take in so much. And you don't go with good, bad people at all. But then you're saying mommy and daddy. And the answer, it's I don't know. I still don't know.
Fair enough. Some things we just don't know, right?
We just don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Tanya, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We've actually gone for quite some time, and I really appreciate you coming in. So many lessons in what you've said. And I'd just like to know, for the audience, how do they follow what you're up to? What are the websites or social media channels that they can follow your journey?
Yeah, can follow me through LinkedIn, or
that's directly into the mic so they don't miss it. Yeah.
Can follow me on LinkedIn, Dr. Tanya, or Facebook, again, it's under Dr. Tanya, or Instagram as Dr. Tanya. And Yeah, that's pretty much.
What's
And
the
my
skin-
website, www.drtanya.net. For the skincare line, we're launching a brand new website with a lot of social entrepreneurship platform as well in it. So I'm not going to actually announce a lot about it right now.
Okay.
That's a little secret,
All right.
what's coming up. Yeah,
Okay.
leave it for a bit later.
So follow all the other channels and you'll get notified.
Yeah,
Great.
cool.
Thanks very much for watching, guys. That was another episode of Get Fact Up. All the episodes are on memedia.com.au and they're also on YouTube and shared across our other socials as well. So stay tuned for next time. And thanks again, Tanya.
Thank you very much, Chris. It was really lovely talking to you.
Cheers.